Surprising and unexpected. The dark secret that Jungkook and Taehyung have been hiding has finally been revealed. Is this the reason behind their change of attitude lately? Why was the army never told? And why is all this revealed only now? A story that could change the way we see them forever. Army shocked. Jungkook and Taehyung's family's secret revealed after years of hiding. What really happened? Do you really know Jungkook and Taehyung? Have we all seen only a small part of their real lives? What would happen if you knew that there was a part of their past that was never told to the public? These questions are now haunting armies around the world after a thrilling incident came to the fore, and it all started with a single sentence that sounded accidental, but sharp enough to change everything. AT first. This sounds like an ordinary fan theory. A wild speculation that emerged after a video of Taehyung looking so emotional at the mention of the word family. But the more you search, the more clues you can't ignore. Jungkook tears backstage. Taehyung's blank stare when asked about the family vacation. And a faint whisper from the staff who seemed to know something, but chose silence. Now, it all comes together to form one surprising puzzle. Jungkook and Taehyung are keeping a family secret. And why is it only now that it's all starting to come to light? There was an unforgettable night for the staff and army present at one of the closed concerts held just for HYB's in-house team. There, as the mood turned emotional and the music paused for a moment, Jungkook stood in the middle of the stage, staring at the hanging studio lights, and in a trembling voice said, "Sometimes that family wasn't the one who gave birth to you, but who protects you even if you're not part of his blood." From that moment on, the fandom world shook. What does that sentence mean? Is Jungkook talking about someone in particular? Or does that mean it keeps something about its origins? But more than that, why does Taehyung look so tense when Jungkook says it? The sensitive army instantly caught something unusual. And when Taehyung hurriedly stepped off the stage shortly after, rumors that had been buried deep began to surface again. There's an old theory that used to be just an absurd story, that Jungkook and Taehyung are actually related by blood, either as cousins or even closer than that. But the rumors were categorically denied. There was never any evidence. But now, one by one, gaps that were once considered unimportant are becoming the big key to this mystery. Why did Taehyung slip in some of his early debut interviews about a younger brother from Busan whom he loves so much? Why is it that Jungkook often mentions that there was someone who was like a big brother in his life since before his debut, but never mentions who? And how is it possible that, in this world full of cameras and highlights, there's a part of their lives that they have managed to protect for more than a decade? The story becomes even more complicated when a former teacher from Taehyung Elementary School is interviewed anonymously by local Korean media. In the interview, he said, "I remember Taehyung was always with a boy who wasn't listed as our student, but he came every day. They're very close. I thought they were brothers." Not registered as a student? Who's that kid? Is that Jungkook? And if so, why isn't it listed? Was there a big secret in their childhood lives that had to be hidden, maybe for the sake of protection, or maybe for the sake of saving something bigger? Army began to dig deeper. Old photos are showing up. Some show Taehyung and Jungkook in the same places, long before they debut. There is a photo from the Spring Festival in 2007 in Daegu, where two boys who are very similar to them appear standing side by side. Isn't that too coincidental? However, this secret becomes more than just a family story when a retired HYBE longtime staffer speaks anonymously to a Korean investigative journalist. He said, "We know there are personal things that should not be opened. We were given strict instructions not to discuss their past relationships, especially before the trainees. They're very protective of that." What is HYB hiding? Why is the agency so protective of the past of these two most beloved members? And if there really is a big secret behind their closeness, does this mean that the army has been lied to all this time? Even more shocking was when a large international fan base received a mysterious letter from someone claiming to be a family member from the past. In the letter it is written, "You only see Taehyung and Jungkook as idols, but you have no idea how hard they survived injuries that weren't from the stage. The secrets they keep are not about themselves, but about a person who can no longer speak. Is it about someone who's gone? Is this secret connected with tragedy? And therein lies the big surprise that brought many ARMY to tears. A few days after the letter appeared, Taehyung uploaded a black and white picture on Instagram. Two young children's hands clasping each other, with a simple caption, "Sorry I couldn't protect you back then." ARMY collapsed. The entire fandom was left speechless. Is this a form of confession? Is this an expression of mourning for someone important in their past? Jungkook, who is usually active on Weverse, disappeared for several days after the post appeared. When he finally reappeared, he wrote only one short sentence. "It's time." It's time for what? Will they finally tell the truth? Will they reveal the truth they've been hiding? Now, many are wondering, is Jungkook and Taehyung's closeness not just about friendship? Is their relationship built from bonds of blood, or bonds of past wounds that unite them deeper than anything imaginable? And if so, what made them decide to let the world know now? Even more heartrending is the fact that all this time, maybe they lived a life with a burden that the ARMY never knew. Laugh on stage, cry behind the scenes. Perhaps their most heartbreaking songs are hidden messages, apologies, feelings of guilt, and unspoken love. It's not just about family secrets. It is about two souls who survive in a world that demands perfection, while they themselves are still trying to heal old wounds. And the most emotional question that is now bubbling in the minds of the ARMY is, do we really love them? Or is it just a version of them that we want to see? This story is not finished. But one thing's for sure. Whatever secrets Jungkook and Taehyung keep, they're never alone. Because behind the tears and whispers of a belated past revealed, ARMY remained here, heard, hugged, and loved unconditionally. The night was colder than usual. Not because of the temperature, but because of the one strange feeling that envelopes every ARMY that rereads old posts from Jungkook and Taehyung. Some have even begun to regroup their digital footprint, debut videos, via live broadcasts, backstage moments, to documentaries that used to feel ordinary. But now, their every word, gaze, and silence. It looks as if it stores a message. There was one moment in the documentary Break the Silence that is now being looked at again with different glasses. At that moment, Taehyung sits alone in the dressing room. Then Jungkook enters, looking at him for a long time before saying, "I still remember that place." Taehyung replied softly, "Don't talk about it here." The camera moved right then. Back in the day, nobody noticed. But now, that sentence was like a small, resounding explosion. That place? What place? Was it their childhood home? A place where something big has happened? Or a place where they promised to bury the past forever? Then, is the place related to the mysterious letter received by the ARMY fanbase? In the letter also written a piece of suspicious sentence. If you want to know everything, look back at 2009. And when fans began to find out deeper, they discovered a surprising fact. In 2009, there was a house fire tragedy in the Jeomjeonggu area of Busan involving two children who survived but whose identities were kept secret by the local government for protection reasons. One of the children was sent to a relative's family in Daegu, and another was admitted to a children's rehabilitation center. No name. No pictures. But the dates match. The location is suitable. The age of the victim, it matched Taehyung and Jungkook's age at the time. Did I guess it possible? Could it be those kids? If it's true, then all this time they have not only been hiding sad stories, but harboring traumas that are too deep to be revealed. A trauma that for more than a decade was locked tightly behind smiles and songs. And what makes it even more heartbreaking is how they use music as a refuge. Many ARMY members are now realizing that Jungkook's Still With You and Taehyung's Winter Bear have lyrics filled with subtle sadness. It used to be considered an expression of art. Now, it felt like an inner scream that had not been heard. You never leave, always beside me. I want to be your morning baby. Is it not just about romantic love? Is it really about someone's death? About a promise to a figure from the past that they can't save? In one of his live broadcasts a few years ago, Jungkook once said this sentence, "If one day I stop singing, it's not because I'm tired, but because I feel like I've kept my promise." That sentence used to feel weird, but now it became one of the puzzles that hit the feelings of many people. Promise me who? Jungkook? And why are you talking now? Taehyung recently appeared on a Korean radio show, and when asked who he misses the most, he was silent for 20 seconds. Then he just said, "I wish I could talk to her again." Again, who is he? Is there really one figure at the center of all these? They seem fine. On stage, behind the camera, in every broadcast, in every grandiose concert. But is it really so? Or has the ARMY only seen the version they want to show? Because if we're honest, there are too many strange moments that have been overlooked. Too much silence that is not given attention. Too many tears covered with a smile. And now, all of that looks too obvious to ignore again. Some fans have now claimed that they have received a mysterious letter from a former agency staffer. The letter was not long, consisting of only 3 sentences. Don't be proud of them just because they are successful. Be proud that they survived. If you know what's really going on, you'll understand why they never talk about their childhood. That last sentence evokes one question that resonates in everyone's heart. What really happened in their childhood, and why, until now, have they chosen silence? Then the ARMY found something else. An old painting hanging in Taehyung's house in Daegu was briefly seen in passing in the documentary video. The painting shows 2 little boys standing in the rain, holding each other's hands, with a burning house behind them. At first it was considered an ordinary work of art. But now, every soldier who saw it knew it was no ordinary painting. It was a memory, and shortly after the speculation peaked, an anonymous account on X, formerly Twitter, uploaded an old photo. Photo of 2 boys who look like Taehyung and Jungkook sitting outside a children's rehabilitation center in Busan. No confirmación. But their expressions were too familiar. Even a small scar under the boys left ear identical to the small scar on Jungkook's neck that he always covers with plaster or a microphone. The ARMY was crying. Not out of pity, but because of guilt. All this time, they were encouraging someone who was struggling with a past that could never be healed. And more than that, they're cheering for 2 boys who lost everything, but chose to keep giving everything for the world. There was another moment in the 2017 Japanese concert that suddenly became the subject of discussion. At the end of the concert, as all the members lowered their heads to say thank you, the camera captured the moment when Taehyung wiped away his tears and Jungkook hugged him from behind in a whisper. "It's done. We did it." In the past, everyone thought it was about the concert. But now, all ask, are they celebrating something else? Are you saying goodbye to painful memories? Or do they realize that the night is the beginning of the courage to reveal everything? One of Taehyung's former teachers in Daegu once said in an interview, he was a very quiet boy, but very sensitive. Once one day, he drew 2 boys' faces and wrote underneath, "If I talk, I'm afraid he's gone again." I didn't know what that meant at the time, but now I understand. Who is he? And why is Taehyung afraid of losing her again? The question haunts many fans who are now trying to piece together pieces of the past into one full-fledged story. And if it is true that they keep family traumas together, there is a high probability that they have a blood relationship, cousins, or even half-brothers. That hypothesis began to roll, and when a fan managed to find old civil records showing 2 children with the surnames John and Kim who were enrolled in an adoption program in 2010, just after the same fire tragedy. But the 2 children were never recorded in public data afterwards. Their names are erased. Were they Jungkook and Taehyung before they became the Jungkook and Taehyung we know? Did HYB know about this in the first place? Or do they choose to cover it up for the sake of privacy and image? Even more heartbreaking is when it is discovered that Jungkook once visited an orphanage in Busan personally without a camera, without notice. He simply told the staff, "I want to sit in the back garden. That's all." And when asked why, he simply replied, "Because I used to have someone who always sat there with me." A sentence that makes anyone who reads it cry, because now we know it was no ordinary donation. It wasn't a fan service visit. It was a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage to the past that he took care of secretly all this time. Now comes one final question. If all this is true, if they have kept this secret for years to protect each other, to keep promises, to bury pain, what made them choose to open everything now? And the answer may be only one, because they believe the ARMY is ready to accept them as they are, not as a superstar, but as a human. The army began conducting collective investigations, digging through archives, contacting local media, and even browsing old forums discussing the 2009 Busan tragedy. They don't give up. They want to know. They want to understand. Because it's